You have Crandon, you have Haulover, you have Tropical Park, you have about 5 major parks in the park system, but all that money, all that entity comes in and comes into the general fund, and it doesn't adequately get put back into where it was sourced. And I think that's one of the major problems that you guys have is trying to resource that money. Many suggestions that I threw out there, and I'm sure you guys have thought about it too. Throw in an additional 50 cents on every person who comes into the park, into that area. And I asked Shirley to throw in a raising of a hand. How many people would pay 50 cents extra? So keep your hands up as I keep going. How many would pay $1 extra every time you came in? Okay, how many would pay $1.50 every time you came in, okay, to the park to have no problems, to have your park officer, to have whatever it needs to be paid for, the extra police officer? How about $2? So you guys are getting to a point where that's a lot of money. That's an awful lot of money. And I told Shirley, I said, you're not going to get somebody to write, okay, here's another question. What's the average number of times you go to the beach a year? Saturday and Sunday, every Saturday and Sunday is 50 Saturdays and Sundays times 2 is about 100 times. Is that fair average, or is that more than average or less than average? I mean, you start to take a look at that. Okay, so even if it was 25 for those weekends, or 25 times a year, start to take a look at that times $2 an hour. Or times $2, I'm sorry, every time you go in. And you get a certain amount of money. Okay, that still is a lot of money for the amount of people that are constantly coming in. Not only are you getting the visitors who are paying, but you're also getting the folks that are the regulars, or the people that live in the area that will be paying. Now you've already written that check, but you've written that check a little at a time. And a little at a time is a lot easier to swallow as a big check. But the bottom line and the issue is you have to become self-sufficient. Parks is not going to go out of its way, no matter what you say, and I hate to put this on record, but bottom line is it's not free money. It's no matter how many people you bring in, the concept is you get to a point where there's a threshold. And you can show over and over and over the amount of people that you're bringing in and the amount of money that's coming in, but until you become self-sufficient, I don't personally think that you guys are going to be able to manage this the way you want to manage it. I know there were folks out at one point that the Parks Department hired to specifically help in that area. Shirley has said that that person's no longer there. They might have some people that are not quite as strong in personality to handle it, but a police officer costs money, that type of person costs money. But you need people that are dedicated only to your particular industry and only your particular area. And I'm not talking again about, there's another issue throughout the state that we had talked about too. Bottom line is I believe now that you're starting to get naturalist folks in all these, and nudist folks in all these areas, if you could bring all those people under one hat twice a year, 3 times a year, 4 times a year in meetings, and you try to help the new and fledgling group come up, because you've already done it. They're reinventing the wheel, so why reinvent the wheel if you've already done all that you can do to help them and support them? And then try to get the group together and bring representatives from the Panhandle and from North Florida, Canaveral area, the West Coast, and then maybe Palm Beach and down here. So there's 5 areas in the state. You meet 3 times a year, 4 times a year. You have discussions, open talk. Anybody can attend, but you try to get business done. And by getting business done is to assist in the areas that you need to assist in, and see maybe some of those folks had an easier route to get something done that could help somebody down here, even though you've been in this 25, 30 years. So again, I think it really comes back down to the fact of trying to be self-supportive. I get it's hard to write a $100 check, but if you're going to get that $100 check, and it ultimately comes down to, like we all know, you get what you pay for. You can, you can throw out cheap dollars and get cheap help, or you can get a little bit more better help, or a little bit more dollars. There's enough people. I was saying the mindset in this room and the ability to be able to work and volunteer your hours, even if it's only 1 hour a month, for the number of people in the room and the number of people that aren't in the room that are committed, is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of volunteer hours. And it's not just the beach ambassadors that I think it should come back down on. Again, I think those folks, they have their work cut out for them. They're out there trying to do the best they can under the circumstance, but you do need a parks person or a representative that can write citations or tickets, or you need a police officer that can write citations or tickets so that people take it serious and take what you developed over the last 30 years and take it serious. Because a lot of these folks, I heard 65% are people that are coming here for the first time or visitors or whatever. They may not take it as serious as you. You have put in the time, the effort, and the work for 30 years to make it what it is today. They come in and they screw it up in one weekend. And those are the folks that you don't want here. That's not what you're trying to encourage. You're trying to encourage, the enjoyment of the betterment of the beach, the betterment of yourself as taxpayers. So again, I truly do think if you become self-sufficient, I asked why there was no benefactors. Why are there not big industry people in your group out of the thousands of people that the 45% of the people live in this area? There's got to be folks that would like to. You can get somebody to put $10,000 on a sign on the highway, on the turnpike in the middle of nowhere, John Jones Law Company, but you can't get somebody to donate to this group. But you're in the group, but you can't get somebody to donate. So I don't understand it. The volume of potential here, thought process, and monetarily is so large, you should not be struggling at all. My opinion is, don't necessarily get, the full-time police officer. Get the guy who's going to work part-time hours, that needs to supplement, but has the potential as an officer or as a representative of parks or whatever. You guys make up the job description, and you guys set forth to the county and say, look, we have the money, we have the people, we don't want anything from you. All we want is the right to put our feet on the sand, just like everybody else. We will self-monitor ourselves, we will self-police ourselves, we will pay for our own people. What else can they say except, okay, they just saved a bunch of money. They just saved a fortune by not having to have them somehow money come out of their taxes. If you do this, if everybody contributes a little bit, you have a huge opportunity to make this work without ever having to worry about being under the thumb of government. My boss used to say, parks is like a cruise ship. It's slow and it's going along, but when it wants to turn, it will start to turn, and it'll take forever and ever, but it finally turns. But it takes forever to turn. Well, that's 20 years from now. Many of us may not be around in 20 more years from now. And that's the point here. If you want to solve a problem, you have to take the bull by the horns. And that's the easiest way. I get it's money, I get the bottom line, I get that there's a cost to it, but look, if that's what you want, you can solve it. You can literally solve that tomorrow by walking into the county commissioner, walking in down there and saying, look, we don't need your money anymore. We have our own money. And who of the taxpayer is going to say, that doesn't make any sense, because now my taxes can go to schools. It can go take care of the teachers. It can go take care of, getting the kids air conditioning in their buildings that they're sweating right now and they don't have air conditioning because you have the money already. So if you really want to get out from underneath government, you got to show government that, they need you more than you kind of need them. I was talking to Shirley. I said, what would happen if one day you guys boycotted and didn't show up? One weekend, and they lost $20,000 in revenue, or you didn't buy from the snack bar for one day or whatever, and they lost $5,000. They made a couple $100, but they lost $5,000. You have a lot of power in your group. You just got to figure out how to use the power in your group, but you don't want to use it adversarially. You want to use it to a point where, hey, we have our funding, we have a police resource officer. Send some of your beach ambassadors to the citation writing course where they have the right to be able to write tickets for litter, for lewd and lascivious, for whatever you want. Spend some of the money there. Take 25, you have your 25 beach ambassadors, take 5 guys that are there pretty consistently and let them do that. And pay for the course. Heck, give them a little bit of dollars. Make them feel comfortable. Throw a lunch for them. Give them a trophy at the end, a plaque at the end of the year. You will get more out of that because they're doing it anyway. You get 25 volunteers doing it anyway. All you have to do is reward the folks. Give them a pat on the back. Give them that plaque. Give them a couple extra dollars. Buy them a lunch here and there. They will trip over themselves to try to get to be those 5 people or whatever you want to do, and they'll trip over themselves to become people for you guys that will help support you. Listen, 99% of the lifeguards are out there. They're very supportive of your group, okay? Their main focus is to watch the water. It has to be that way. There cannot be, I'm looking for lewd and lascivious and somebody drown over here. It cannot be that way. They have enough struggles by themselves, keeping enough tension on the water themselves, let alone having to give them extra things to do. And I was in the industry, and now that's talking kind of against the lifeguards. But that's the fact. Fact of the matter is, if there's an incident out there, 99% of the time is because somebody's not paying attention. That's the bottom line. You're watching the water, you watch the water, you watch the water, you watch the water. Once your attention gets off the water, something happens. I saw a video on my phone the other day. There was a group. There was a small pool. It was probably 8 by 8, okay? And babies were brought in here to swim. And this baby had a life preserver on, had a donut on or whatever, you know, like a float. And all these babies were put in the water with float. The water was only 3 feet deep. 3 feet deep. Only 3 feet deep. Five babies in there. Baby put in, baby put in. You had somebody watching. This person got on their phone, started texting. That little baby dumped over, and probably for 4 minutes, I want to jump into the phone to help this little kid that drowned. Literally right next to what that person's responsibility was. So again, the attention of the lifeguard has to be on the water, has to be on medicals, has to be in that concept, and is not always going to be there to assist with the lewd and lascivious. That's why you need to have these other folks that are doing the job that assist you in what your needs are. So that's kind of my talk.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.